Yo, what's up? So today we're talking about the ZV-E10 and how bad I really want this camera, and do you? Let's get into it. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the video. Today's a little different. You can tell that I'm not in my studio. The AC at my house has been broken and we're waiting on the part so I can fix it. Yes, I'm an HVAC technician and I can fix it, but you know, I'm just waiting on the part. So we've been staying at my father-in-law's house and he is not in at the moment. He's been gone for 2 weeks in Colombia. So we've been crashing at his pad. So I'm making do with what I have. So my point to that is, and I said all that to bring this up, is like, no matter what, this YouTube thing means so much to me that I'm going to find any way that I possibly can to grind. But anyway, let's get into this video. Let's talk about the ZV-E10 and how bad I want it. So I got some notes that I got going on here today. I usually do this, but I don't do this. It's hard to explain. Sometimes when I use notes, it kind of throws me off. So I'm going to do the best I can with this today and just give you some reasons why I want the ZV-E10 and why you may want it, and yeah, and then why you may not. But there's only like one reason. Anyway, I'm blurbling on. I'm ADHD, by the way. I don't know if you struggle with that, but I do. So sometimes I bounce all over the place. So please forgive me for that. But let's get into the notes here right quick. So first off, with the ZV-E10, it is somewhat like the ZV1. Now, Sony came out with this camera, I think, because vloggers are still happening. Like, vlogging is still a thing. Being a creator, having this type of camera is definitely nice. It's easy. I have the ZV1 and I love that camera, especially just being able to grab it, pick it up, and run with it. Getting to the ZV-E10, it has a lot of comparisons when it comes to the ZV1 and the ZV-E10. They're basically the same camera, but the two major selling points to this camera, actually there's three. The three major selling points to this camera of why I want it is because, number one, it has the Sony APC sensor, which is bigger than what comes with the ZV1. The ZV1 has that small little sensor and it can struggle in low light and shooting in HD, things like that. I did a vlog and I'll talk more about that later, but the picture quality would just fall apart. So having this bigger sensor, the Sony APC sensor that they put in their A6400, A66, A6000, those sensors is what they have put in this camera. And with that sensor, this is another reason I want this camera, is because that sensor takes a 6K image and oversamples it down to a 4K picture, and it just makes for better quality. The sensor, it's a better performance than the ZV1, so that's why I'm wanting to upgrade to this camera, because it does perform a lot better with that bigger sensor. Now, another reason, I've said two reasons why I want this camera. That's the sensor and the 6K oversampling down to 4K. Another reason I want this camera is because you can change the lenses on this camera. Now with the ZV1, if you don't know, you cannot change the lens. It only has that zoom in and out kind of lens. The ZV1 is more of like a point and shoot kind of camera. It has that zoom in and out lens like I just said, and it was basically like 28 millimeters to 70 millimeters is kind of the comparison, if you will, and it just wasn't always the best. Now if you held your arm way out here, then yeah, with that 28 millimeters, it just wasn't the best. So you would have to literally hold your hand way out here in order to get a good angle with the ZV1. Now, if you bought the wide angle lens that you can get for the ZV1, you didn't have to hold it out so far. Me, myself, I put it on a GorillaPod and just hold it way out there, and it works pretty good without the wide angle lens. Now, I do have the wide angle lens, but I still sometimes don't even use it, because if you have a long enough GorillaPod or tripod, you can hold it out there. But anyways, guys, I done talked about the reasons why I want this camera, but let's get more back into talking about the third reason, and that is being able to change your lenses. Being able to change your lens to me is very important. When I think vlogging camera, I think of a very wide angle lens. So me, when I buy this camera, I'm also going to pick up the 10 to 18 lens. I think that's going to be a perfect match. I believe the 10 millimeter on the APC comes around about 16 millimeters, and it just makes perfect for a vlogging camera. Now let's talk about all the other similarities that the ZV1 and the ZVE10 have in common, just in case you don't know, and what makes the original ZV1 so awesome. So a couple things that they put into the ZV1 was the product showcase. Now, if you don't know what that means, the product showcase would be like if you stuck the product up in front of the lens, then it would, bam, autofocus on it immediately. And it was just something awesome for somebody that does a lot of productivity, showcase and things like that. If that's in your business or on your YouTube channel, showing different things off, then that autofocus system comes in handy. Another awesome thing that they put into the ZV1 is the background defocus. The background defocus, what that is a button that you can press on top of the camera, and it automatically makes the background go blurry. So in this day and age, that's considered that professional look. We all want that blurry bokeh background, and just by a push of a button, you had it on the ZV1. Now the ZVE10 has it, and I love the fact that they took some of these nice traits and pushed it onto the ZVE10, or made it come with the ZVE10, and they didn't get rid of it. Considering, and this is another, let me back up. This is another reason I want this camera, is the price. Considering all the things that they've put into this camera, and it's still only $699 just for the body, that makes for an amazing deal for me, and that's one of the reasons I want this camera. Let's talk some more about what else the ZV1 has in it. It's 24 megapixels, so that makes out for a good high quality image. It also shoots, like I mentioned earlier, 4K with a oversample from 6K. It shoots 4K up to 30. Now, this new ZVE10 also shoots HD up to 120. Now, the ZV1 also shot in HD up to 900 and some frames, I think it was, something crazy. But if you go back and look on my channel, I shot a vlog not long ago, and I shot it all in 60p and HD, and you can just tell in the background and the leaves and stuff on the trees that it was basically like, just looked like mush. It did not look good. So from what I can tell in other videos that I've watched, the HD that comes out of the ZVE10 looks a lot better than the HD in the ZV1. But that's obviously going to happen, right? Because it's a bigger sensor, you're getting higher performance. It's a 6K image, oversampled, downsampled to 4K. So all the way around, it's just going to look a lot better. But also, the ZV1 had the new color science in it, I believe. And I loved shooting with the ZV1 with just, in standard profile. I never used any S-Log or anything like that. I haven't tried it out yet, but I believe it all works good in just like the standard profile, and using like auto focus, and not autofocus, but like auto settings. I would set it to shutter priority, and it always just looked the best to me at that setting. So I imagine the ZVE10 is also going to look amazing when you put it in like shutter priority. And just, if you want this camera just to snatch it up and grab and run with it, kind of like I did with the ZV1, then that makes it, nice to have it in one of those settings, and for it to also just look good. So for me, having a small camera like this, being able to snatch it up, hop on my one wheel and haul butt, and not worrying about if I drop it, it makes the experience so much better when you're not having to worry about dropping a $4,000 camera like my Sony FX3. So that's one of the reasons I bought the ZV1. I apologize, I'm kind of bouncing all the way around. All right, guys, so yeah, I just have one bad thing to say about the ZVE10, and that is, if I'm not mistaken, they put the old Sony menu in the camera. I don't know why they did that. I guess to keep the price down once again. The body's only $699, and with the lens that you can buy in the set. I believe it makes it $7.99, and it's like the 16 to 50 millimeter stabilized lens, which I've had that lens, and it's decent. It makes for a good little vlogging lens. But like I said earlier, if I buy the ZVE 10, which I do plan on, I will be buying the 10 to 18 millimeter lens. But anyways, guys, that's the only thing I really can say about that I don't like about this new camera. But this is pretty much the end of the video, guys. I will be buying this camera, and I recommend that you buy it. If you're new to YouTube or just wanting to have a easy camera, then definitely pick up this camera. It would be well worth the money. Guys, that's it for me. I appreciate you watching this video. I know it's a little different, and I know that I jump all over the place here and there, guys, but just work with me as I get better. I would appreciate if you subscribe and hit that like button. You have no idea how much that like button helps me, helps any YouTuber. It just helps so much, guys. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.